Okay, alright. So welcome into the Power Hour Flow and Chart stream. If you're new, we look at flow, charting, any market questions, just kind of hang out, see what's going on. If you're returning, you know how it goes. Feel free to drop requests in the chat. Flow, charting, so on. And yeah, kind of go from there. It's been a little quieter this afternoon. Let's go take a look at that market tide here, kind of start out. Pretty bearish, I almost said bullish there. Bearish market tide here, out of the money, and all put premiums are heavy ask side right now. Call premiums, bid and out of the money only, sitting bid side. Put premiums kind of dropping a little bit now, but I mean, for the most part, it's been a very, very choppy day, and a lot of those kind of mid-morning updates. I mean, was looking at chop there and chop to kind of more defensive, which downside, and I mean, it's been really, really kind of choppy there. Yes, the dotted lines are 0 DTE only, so if I take those off, oh well, that's gonna do that then there. Oops, let's fix that. Yeah, so if you have it on, both dotted will be out of the money, and it shows you that up there too. I don't know why I tried to pop it up there and show you, but yeah, nope, your dotted are out of the money only, and then solid would be all premiums there. But yeah, really, I mean, solid bearish day there. I mean, a lot of names kind of driving that market tide too, and haven't looked at that sentiment here. I got to give it a refresh, see how we're doing. It's neutral here. Breadth is good again today. Just kind of looking at our numbers here. Sector flow, I mean, we're pretty flat on the day here. Utilities are your leader, real estate materials, financials, your biggest loser. Everything else, I mean, essentially flat here after communications. And below, I mean, pretty flat there. Tech pretty flat for the most part. Let's look at, oops, let's go back here. Man. Okay, here we go. Let's go take a peek at, I mean, and look at our volume today. That's one thing you got to kind of pay attention about. We're sitting about half of that 30-day average right now on the S&P 500 there. Utilities are up. Everything else, materials kind of slightly below there. Yeah, everything else volume-wise, I mean, we're pretty light volume. I mean, that S&P, that SPY volume there, very light, and that's expected because we have non-farm payrolls tomorrow and CPI on Friday, so it might be a little choppier there, but non-farms on Friday there will be, or non-farms tomorrow will be a very big volatile day. Let's look at some flow here. We got the T21327 puts here, and a lot of that flow has just been, you're seeing a lot of multi-legs, a lot of non-textbook flow there. So I mean, a lot of that risky flow channel's been getting hit a lot. Just nothing we can do about that. It's got to give what the market gives us. But let's look at these T's here. These could be a little interesting. Let's come back here to the beginning. So that flow comes in. We see that IV spike there. It's a repeated hit. Spot is technically filling at the ask there. So let's go here. So we're at that 34.20. I want to keep an eye on that IV, and it looks just kind of first glance looks like it stays up there that entire time. Yeah, kind of a goofier. I mean, it's saying it's a mid fill there. It truly would be at the ask there. So just kind of following up that up there. So IV continues to stay at that 34.20. Do have a small drop here on kind of a decent amount of size. How much is that total candle there? 7,500, so 300 contracts out of it. Not substantial, but something to be aware of. See another 112 there. See, now this is when I start to not kind of like that flow, because you see that IV dip there again on kind of another bigger number there, and then we see that IV drop here at the end too, and then it's kind of the rest of the flow there. Then we turn into bid side here, and again, it's 25 seconds, 26 seconds later, but just educated guess and kind of visually looking at it. To me, that looks like it's probably all the same whale. I would make a strong bet on that one. And that IV drops here. These may be short puts here. Then just kind of seeing how it continues to drop there. I mean, that timing is to the second there. The odds of this being multiples of other people, pretty slim there, just with that timing. Yeah, I just don't like how that IV was up. Then we are kind of getting some small drops on that bigger size there. And then IV drops it then. So again, another piece where it's interesting, but it's not hitting all your good textbook rules or so. This will be one for the risky flow channel. I mean, it's interesting and it just makes it difficult. I mean, weekly 2% out of the money, nothing. I don't think we have any big telecommunication names reporting this week either. Let me pop this into that channel. Yeah, just interesting flow. It's been one of those days. Yeah, and a lot of multi-leg stuff. Just odd fills and everything as well too. Let's see, shop. The 213, 115 put. Good size. Definitely an opener, but that spread is a little wide there. Let's see. Let's come down here, take a peek. So IV spikes when it comes in, repeated hit, ascending fill. So at this point in time here when it comes in, we are 9 cents above the bid and we're 9 cents below the ask. So this truly is a mid fill here. Let's see. Oh, I know. Bean telling me about it's been bad today. This whole week has just been not good flow. I had the last couple, but at earnings season, it's usually like that. So, okay, this is earnings flow. I don't know why I didn't say that at the top, but so shop earning puts here. So IV rises here, spot rises here. Small little drop here. That's probably not that same person. I would say these are probably buy to open, but again, earnings here. So let's throw this into the earnings flow channel. And even that's one thing with earnings, that flow can match all your textbook rules just with everything going on, but the earnings 100% a gamble there. And yes, Bean, you are correct about that too. Dog came behind me and like barked. Let me. When he came down with a toy, I was like, "What is he?" And this is the oddest dog because he likes to like bark loud at his toys and like growl at them. And I was like, it almost sounds like he's choking whenever he's doing that. I'm just like, crazy dog. All right, so back to the flow here. DD, these might be interesting here. Yeah, I know Bean yours is adorable too. I love Ollie. He's so cute. 320, 52 and a half call on the DDs here. Very widespread. Earnings, 0, I believe. They already reported. Oh, no, they report today. It's that dash there. So more earnings flow here. Well, this would technically be risky flow with it overlapping earnings by that much. Let's take a peek. Let's pop this down. So IV spikes when it comes in. That looks good. Again, wider bid ask. We're filling at 84 cents here. That's obviously on the ask side there. So now looks like we had a lot of other little details kind of going on here. So 84, and then we come up to the ask. IV rises. This looks good. This looks good. Now we have that drop in the IV here towards the end. Spot again fills at the ass continuously. And I'm looking at, so 36 seconds later here. I'm just kind of trying to get that timing down. I'm ignoring this timing here. This is the one that's kind of sticking out to me. I mean, just looking at that size there, I would make a good assumption it's probably part of this overall trade here. Again, we 100% won't know, but just kind of based off that size and that premium, kind of matching some of the other big orders in here, I would assume it's part of that. So you would have an IV spike there as well. This one, again, definitely. I do have that on. Your exchanges are right here being auto and then auto there. So I mean it's technically, and I don't really pay too much attention to the exchanges there. I'm because they can just, I mean, the way they get filled, that's kind of a backburner. I've never really paid a ton of attention to that. Yeah, I can just pop it on here quick. Yeah, so XNDK. Yeah, so I mean they're all different there. I don't really pay attention to the exchanges. I never really have. Let me pop that off here. Yeah, no, I've never had that on there. I usually just leave the code on there. I mean, that's almost something I don't really pay too much attention to either. Um, that would be interesting though to kind of just see what that exchange is for most of the flow. Cause it's oh, now you got me. Now you got me wanting to experiment with that. I don't have enough screen space. Um, yeah, might go over the weekend and just kind of take a peek at that. Uh, but anyways, these I'm gonna throw in that risky flow channel. It's definitely interesting flow there. I just don't like that earnings after hours. So let's pop that there. Yeah, no, it's a good tool. I mean, like if you look, I mean, I don't really need that exchange there. If I look at that timing and it's all the same second, I can probably tell you it's the same trader that way. I mean, that's the odds of somebody coming in and at the same exact second hitting all that size and all that premium and it being different traders pretty unlikely. And like when we looked at that here too, let me pop that exchange back on too since we were looking at that exchange is pretty much different for all of those, and I would probably say this is, I mean, this, I will 99.99% tell you this is the same person here, even though that exchange doesn't match. So I'm going to pop that back off again. Yeah, no, yeah, the sweeps, without that onto, it's good there. I mean, and, and me saying it's good because I never hardly use it. I mean, that's the first time I've popped exchanges on there for a very long time. I'm more of looking at the timing and kind of looking at the size and premium and just kind of getting a good visual on it versus exchange. Let's see, let's pop this in here. Because the exchange, I believe, I mean, it's just which exchange the contracts are being filled at. So, I mean, they could technically get filled at a different exchange and be part of the same trade. I'm not super into like the fundamentals of how exchanges are processing contracts and all that, but that's kind of how I would see it. All right, let's look at some more flow. So if anybody has any flow too, feel free to drop it. But let's kind of take a peek here. Let's see, Baidu or Queb. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, yeah, we can look at those for you. 1 second. We'll look at Queb here first. So Queb just kind of face value here, not really seeing much off the bat. Nice spike in that net call premium back here on 2.6. Any flow today though? Let's take a peek. Let's take a peek. No, I get what you were saying, Bean. I get what you were saying for Bean. Or for Bean. I get what you're saying. Um looking I mean face value, I mean it's they're hitting those calls there, M1. I mean, and that's decent size premium there too. I mean, a lot of longer May, June calls there, late December call there. And I mean, that's all your. And it looks like, I mean, some of these look like they've been in there for a while. Let's see that 116. And it's going to be no side there. I'm just going to kind of go through these quickly. This one is brand new today. That 128, that's what we just looked at. The 36. So big bid side back here on 2.5, and most of that's still in there. I just want to see how that actual flow looks there. So 5% out of the money. Oh, this is multi-leg here. Let's see what it's popping in for the multi-leg. So they're doing it as so it's a 4-leg strategy. I don't trade multis. Don't ask me about the super internal. I just pop them in here. I am not a multi-leg trader. I can tell you what a roll is, but I will not sit and diagnose multi-leg trades. I mean, option profit calculator saying it's short those. Let's go back here and look at the other ones here. This other 128 day, this one also, this one looks like it was kind of possibly, let's see, from the 4th. Built in. Just trying to see if I can find a. Well, there's been a lot of open interest on this one for a while, since August. I mean, I don't see any significant volume days in here where anything would have potentially been passed off. Started coming in June. 100. I mean, all of these volume days look like they're carrying over, so safe to say this whale would still be in another 230 there. So 12.5 was the first day that we saw some open interest, or 12.8, that open interest drop there. 300. So, okay, now we're seeing volume and no open interest changes. That makes me think, I mean, you're starting to get contracts changing hands and not seeing big significant changes in that open interest. Another one on 114, another one on 116. So it's hard to tell who is who in this one. The one thing I like here is on 2.6 you had that 1500. Most of that carried over. And let me just pop this back 3 days. So that was the 6th there. So I mean most of that carrying over there. Yeah, I mean I would say that whale's still in. That original one, hard to tell just with so many contracts changing hands. Then we got a short-term Queb here. Started coming in on the 6th again. So this looks like it's almost an ad today. I mean, this is definitely an ad today. 35 cents trading at 43 right, or for a high trading back to 37 right now. I mean, overall, your flow's looking kind of bullish there. I just don't like how a lot of them kind of are have contracts changing hands. I do like that spike of net call premium there on the 6th. So let's look at, you also wanted me to look at Baidu here, and then we will do GLD and light here. So let's do, okay, Baidu. So first glance premiums, you got that nice spike back here on 2.6 also. Nothing major really the last couple days there. Started making its way up. Let's look at our flow. Not much for flow, so this should be an easy one. Looking like it's all calls here, and my filters are completely wide open on this one. Completely wide open filters on this. Is that seriously all we've got for contracts today? That's just all calls today. That's definitely interesting there. Yeah, okay. I just want to refresh because that's just odd to. Oh, that's yeah, definitely interesting. I mean, you got some bid side stuff in here, but let me just gonna see if I can make that look a little prettier. Actually, we'll get rid of that because it's not that much flow to look at. I mean, so 266, the 128 call. When did this start coming in? Let's see. Oh, another one. I mean, you're seeing a lot of contracts changing hands. Like you don't know who's who in something like that. How about this one? So, bunch of contracts coming in here. 2.9. So 2 yesterday. Let's go look at yesterday. Most of that kind of carrying over. Could see some of that getting taken off today. No, you're good. We can take a look at that cash. Um, yeah, I mean the Baidu flow is very interesting here, and then you got the 155s. Looks like those are already moving from today. 90 looks like they're trading about 104. Yeah, the Baidu flow is really interesting. I mean, you are seeing put premiums up though today, so yeah, really interesting there. I mean, the cleanest looking one there is probably that 155, which is already kind of moving up a little bit there, or else this 160 here. And that's not even that clean because there's just so much open interest on it already. Yeah, like see, you just don't know who's holding what and trading what in there, so it just makes it a little blurry there, but definitely something interesting to keep an eye on there. All right, let's do GLD. So gold premiums, just face value here. I mean, flat here, no spikes in net call or put premium there. Let's go look at the flow. This I will have to filter a little bit. And let me find my in the money. Alright, let's take a peek here. So that more midterm stuff here again. Seeing on calls here again, a lot of open interest on some of these though. A lot of open interest too, and a lot of volume going on too. Yeah, you see all that volume here, and I mean you're not seeing significant changes in open interest, so you know those contracts are changing hands same day. So let's kind of just, oops, wrong one. Let's go look at this one. So all these contracts where you're seeing a lot of that, they're in and out that same day. So that flow isn't really super reliable there. And I mean the 600 or 200 contracts whale here out of 11,000, you're not going to be able to track something like that. I wonder if just kind of doing some guesstimating here. Wonder if it's something from yesterday. I mean, you had 1,000 yesterday, then 270 here at point there. Let's see, 66. So this might be a decent one here. So big spike. So 2-3, we're getting 500 size candle hits. So let's go look at this. 2-3, all of that carried over. You had another 400 for 2-5 carryover. Another 500 today. I will probably make a good guess these will carry over here. I mean, just historically looking at that, you'd want to for sure confirm that open interest tomorrow, but my guess is that 500 today should carry over into tomorrow, so it should probably be around that 24 to 2600 or so, give or take a couple hundred contracts in there. But looks like this whale is building a position in here, so definitely something to keep an eye on. Definitely something to keep an eye on. This one looks like a position builder. Then let's look at this 500. Again, I mean, too many contracts changing hands. You're not going to be able to track something of in the flow like this, like 600 contracts, yes, or today out of 2,800. You don't know what they're doing, who it is, or so on. So far, I like that. This one, this is probably your best one so far, that 417, 474 call. Let's look at that 501 here. So most of this is coming in today. So this is 600 contracts. So right away I can tell you this is an opening trade. We only had 193 open interest on the day. This is for sure an opening trade. 100% an opening trade. Now let's just kind of look at the internals here. So IV spikes when it comes in. Spot is at the ask. I like these as well. 790. So a little drop there at the end on that one. Not a massive drop. And that bid ask does get a little funky there at the end. Looks like it decreases, so you might have just got a little better fill there. I would still lean with these being buy to open there. Where's that small little drop? 66. Yeah, I'd lean with these being buy to open and just kind of matching that with that other flow that we've kind of looked at. So yeah, I would say I like that 331. Well, maybe if I could actually click correctly. Nope, not that one. The 500. Nope, it's the 501. Just see all these numbers and they run together. So the 501 and then also the 474 would be interesting to me there on GLD. Alright, okay, so SLB. This is what the market map looks like on my computer. I've never seen stocks coverage on it like this before. Is this normal? Let me pop it up. We can go look at the market map here. Market map. So we've got it on net call premiums. So I think you might. I have S&P 500 on only, so that's why mine wasn't showing up there. This is definitely interesting. Trying to see why it's showing like that. I mean, it's yes, penny stock stuff like this, I probably wouldn't do anything based off that data. This is the nicest way I can say it is this is junk. um, yeah, so one thing I always usually just keep it on S&P 500 only there, just because you can kind of get those little penny stocks and that kind of little crappy outlier stuff that comes in like that. Yeah, I would probably just keep it on that S&P 500 there. Okay, so cash. Now I can finally get to you. So here's your ETF flow for the day. A lot of IWM puts coming in here. I mean, you got 18K on the day here, 5% out of the money, 38 days out. A lot of put premium coming in. definitely interesting heading into non-farms tomorrow. And we know it's for sure opening. I mean, the big candle and the big volume compared to everything else. It's definitely an opening trade there. You would just want to, because you have 8,000 there, you got 4,500 there, plus another 1,000, so 55, plus another 35, so you're at 9,000-ish. Very close to that candle. I would just want to double check that open interest tomorrow. Obviously, that kind of defeats the purpose of swinging over for non-farm payrolls, but my guess is most of it would carry over. Just kind of looking at that different volume candle size there. I mean, I don't see them taking it off in that position. Again, you just never know what they're doing, but I would probably make a good guess and say most of this is carrying over. Good thing is you're seeing a lot of put premium there on the day as well. What else do we got in here? So IWM, and you also have the 322.55s being hit here. Again, this one a little trickier. You have 51% multi-leg on this chain. You have a lot of previous open interest too. So like if I pop this back, kind of zooming in a little bit here. So this actually, just kind of looking at that candle, so 40,000 today, so this is a 20,000 here. So most of this just kind of looks like, let's see. So chain started seeing a lot here on that 1027. Open interest stays. Yeah, I mean that's the one thing with the ETFs. You see a lot of contracts changing hands. That's makes it difficult to know who's in, who's not. But this one, having 7,000 for. I mean, this one's an easier one to kind of track. 20,000 contracts there against the 30,000. Just looking at that kind of visual history there too. I mean, the odds of this all being one single person and then just saying, hey, I'm going to close everything today, very, 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 very unlikely. Let's look at that flow though here. It was multi-leg, so that's kind of a messier multi-leg here. What's it saying? We are put debit spread here. I want to see if that's what it pops it in here as too. So bearish, obviously. Anything else in that ETF flow? Let's go look. SPY 10-day. This one doesn't look like it's the best fill here. 4% out of the money. Let's see. So IV spikes when it comes in. Spot is filling at the ask. That looks good there. Come on down here. So IV's rising that entire time. Drops a little bit here at the end and on that bigger size and premium too. That's the part that would concern me. Otherwise, I mean, that spot is filling at that ask that entire time. I'd say this is an interesting change. Like this is something I'm gonna actually throw this in that risky flow channel. It's kind of up a little bit. 99, trading 115. Yeah, a little too late for that. I was probably up grabbing something at the time. Yeah, and I'm just kind of looking at the put premiums here too. I mean, they're starting to kind of drop now throughout the day. I mean, SPY is looking like it's gonna hit a new low of the day there. Let's see. Other than that, I mean, those ARC puts from earlier in the day. Let's see. These ones here. At 305, they're just kind of coming back up to break even here. The reason I didn't fully like these, though, you just see how that. Let's come back here. So that again, I mean, this went in that risky flow channel where I mean, you see that IV's at that 45, 46 spot is filling at the ask, and then your IV starts to drop for a majority of the trade. And then you're at that 44.15. So I mean, it's a lot of that flow. It looks good, but it's not hitting all those specific rules that you'd like to see. Now, if the IV started at that 44.15 and went up to that 44, what did I say, 40 or 45, 46, that's a different story then because you're actually seeing that IV increase. And like the thought process behind the IV increasing and decreasing, if the IV is increasing, that whale's essentially expecting volatility on that name, and the implied volatility can mean that stock could be moving, so that's why they look at it as a buy. Versus if that IV is dropping, they look at that as a sell because that implied volatility is dropping, and that stock could remain flat or be done moving or go the other way. So that's kind of when you're looking at that textbook flow, you want to see it hit all that criteria. Now again, just because that IV isn't increasing or it's decreasing doesn't mean the flow's not going to work out. So I mean that's why I like to post it for those that might like to look at a chart quick and take a peek. But yeah, let's see. Oh, anything else coming in? Hims was getting slaughtered today, and I think they got slaughtered yesterday too. Like this, I mean, do you really want to chase something that's 10 days out and already down 10%? Probably not. Probably not the smartest trade to do. And this kind of a good example here. I mean, this is read as a buy, but you're down 10% on the day, so that IV is higher on those puts. Everybody wants puts. Everybody's trying to chase the stock that's down. So I mean, that's kind of where I'll discount that IV a little bit. I like to find those names where it's pretty much inverse that. So now if these were calls and that IV is increasing, okay, great, interesting then. But you'd be chasing at this point and just kind of looking at those net put premiums too. I mean, they're sitting bid side now. You're not seeing a lot of ask side volume coming in, and just the last 14 days. Yeah, I mean it got slaughtered yesterday, got a small recovery, getting slaughtered again today. Like it's something that's risky. All right, let's see what else we got coming in. Thing bid side, not really. Yeah, just not a whole lot coming in. I mean, it is that very kind of crappy multi-leg. I mean, this is my one page. I'm on one page of flow. Usually I'm 2, 3 pages in for the day, and just tons of multi-leg, tons and tons of multi-leg, and that's how it's been. I'm going to take a peek at these. A little more on the ask earnings flow, though. So, big spikes in premium. 11,000 there, about 12,000 there. You'd have to double check that open interest. I would probably assume these will carry over because you have that. So 11 there, 12 there, and then you got 3,300 there. Where's the other big chunk? 11, so 23 plus 3, so 26. So just little other volume spikes in here. I would make an assumption, educated guess, that most of this will probably carry over. I'm gonna actually throw this in that risky flow channel. It's interesting. Earnings in 8 days, though. That is one thing I don't like. Any of that flow that's gonna overlap earnings can look perfect, but you just never know with earnings. That is always an issue. About these EU calls. Do we have EU earnings tomorrow? So again, when I see three hits like this, I feel a little more comfortable assuming that flow is going to carry over. Now, if it's just like this one 2000 and then another 2000, you have to for sure 100% check that open interest. You can't guess on something like that. Now, when you have a third leg there, I mean, more than likely it's an ad. Again, you have to still check that open interest, but I would make a very solid assumption it's going to carry over. And usually when I see the flow kind of come in like this too, I can just kind of make an educated guess. When you're hitting a chain like that repeatedly different times, you're probably not selling those contracts more than likely. And I mean, again, another earnings flow here. So let's just kind of take a peek here. I'm going to pop this in that risky flow quick here. Yeah, a lot of flow that looks good. It's just not, it's overlapping earnings or there's something internal. Just a lot of face value, good looking flow there. A lot of good face value looking stuff. Oh, I wanted to look at you earnings here actually. So you earnings, I mean, they've had a positive, I mean, average is a positive move, and when we have hit that implied move, it hit to the upside. It could for sure be an interesting piece of flow there for those U calls. I just don't, I mean, again, earnings just not fun, and just kind of looking at that historical move after earnings here too. I mean, you pretty mixed. I mean, we're getting between that downside and that upside. But when you get that upside move, man, I mean, that is a nice, strong upside. Oh, 52%. That's just insane. Yeah, that's something interesting there. Got any other flow on you? Looks like all our highest volumes are mostly calls here. A lot of long dated stuff in there. A lot of long dated U calls there. Alright, let's see. What else do we got for flow coming in here? How's our tide looking, actually? Actually, let's look at Periscope here. I just want to take a peek here. Coming in, sitting on some negative gamma here. I mean, a lot of those positions kind of deteriorated from earlier in the morning. I mean, come back here from earlier in the morning, we saw some good bunch of upside positioning there and kind of tailed off until now. Now we're just kind of, suppose I could just do this. I mean, you're sitting downside. I mean, I might be looking for maybe a small rejection off that 69.55 if we come back up there. Look for it to accelerate through this negative gamma to that kind of 69.45-ish area. Let's see. Yeah, just not much for flow. Does anybody have anything they want me to take a peek at? This is the issue with these slow days, and I didn't want to. I wanted to do a stream for sure. We can look at these Schwab puts here. These could be. These look like potential short puts here. Take a peek here. Oh, I gotta edit something here quick. Whoops. I don't know how to spell name. Okay. So let's look at these puts here. These could be short puts. So okay, Ivy's at that 31.77. It's filling more towards the bid. I don't really have anything to kind of see how that Ivy's getting impacted. I would probably lean these are short puts here. How far are they out of the money? 10% out of the money. Odds Schwab's below 90 by May. Eh, probably unlikely. Earnings in 65 days though. I don't like the selling the premium over earnings because you can really get hurt then. And yes, M1, that's a good point. We were actually kind of looking at that if I could type here. Yeah, I mean, look at that volume. Very light volume there today. And I mean, just even kind of looking within the sectors too. Materials, flat. Communication services seems put premium there. Consumer cyclicals. Mixed. Defensive. Bid side. Energy. Calls bid side. I mean, everything's just, I mean, you're not seeing a lot. Even tech, I mean, pretty flat. Pretty flat. Just one of those days. It's been one of those weeks. One of those weeks. Another U call coming in here too. $99. So I mean that looks good. Small little drop there, but you're essentially coming in at the I was gonna say at the ask there, so small drop, then we come back up. 968. I just don't like that small drop at the end. I mean, it's only on $600 out of that entire trade. But again, overlapping earnings, it's kind of a crapshoot anyways. But that's a lot of U flow here. I gotta respond to somebody on Twitter here quick. A lot of U flow here. Alright, let me just respond to this. Oops. Alright. Okay, let's see. Yeah, just so slow. 10 minutes left too, man. Yesterday was a drag too. Yeah, you're tied, just not seeing those premiums flinch, and SLB's your biggest contributor now to that market tide. A lot of that's kind of dropping off. Is Google back? Oh no, Google's interesting. A lot of put premium on this one today, but that price has kind of withstood everything there. Something to keep an eye on. Yeah, just one of those days. One of those days that just Verizon, those long terms were interesting. They overlapped earnings low. Yeah, a lot of net call premium on Verizon today. I was just looking on a extended view. Yeah, I mean, price is really high above that. Hit that top of that net pre. There was somebody I know what we can look at. There was somebody that was asking in the chat earlier about Lyft earnings. So Lyft earnings, interesting to me. I did notice big spike in that call premium back here on 2.6. A lot of call volume too. I mean, that's a massive spike there. Little spike today, little spike yesterday. That's could be calling for some upside. And we had that weekly, that 213.18 call was very interesting there. 72, 71. I mean, they're trading pretty break even there. That is something interesting, but 91% multi-leg. You gotta hear something saying it's called debit spread. So, I mean, they want it to go up. Yeah, definitely something. That spike in that net call premium is what caught my eye, and Lilu can kind of attest to that. Same with Pipsy. I mean, if they've been, because I know they've been following that net call premium gap channel, and that channel is absolutely fun to follow. Because I mean, that price tends to gravitate towards closing that quote unquote gap there. So I mean, to fill that gap here, I mean, you'd have to see 19-ish or so. I mean, that would be a big move, and it's a $2 move for earnings there. I mean, talk about lining up there, but I mean, the thing could just tank too. That's the issue there. No after hours today though. And that historical move there, when we hit that implied move though, I mean, just recently it's looked kinda good, but a lot of downside there too. And I mean, look at that historical 1 week move after. It's mostly bullish. I mean, like if I was gonna play earnings on something like this, I'd probably get like maybe a monthly contract on something like that. Because I mean, that 1 day move is kind of, well, it's favoring the upside there too. Oh man, no, 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 no. See, this is why I don't look at earnings because I'm like, oh, that data looks so good. The data looks so good there, and then no, no, I can't touch it. I almost was gonna get a little lotto lift call there, but that's fine if it shoots up, whatever. Yeah, I know it's a really cool tool. Like I'm so happy they put that in there. That visualization of seeing where those names are. Absolute game changer of a tool there. Absolute game changer of a tool. Let's look at these Nvidias quick. Looking like a block trade here though, so we'll see if we have anything. Yeah, no. I do have a little flow before it, but nothing really in here kind of giving me any good clues or anything. I mean, IV stays the same. Spots at the ask. That IV after does drop a little bit and then pops. Probably not related. Maybe these two are related, but nothing really there. Man, it got me stuck on lift. I'm going to revisit this video after, and if lift crashes, I'm going to be like, that's exactly why I don't play earnings. And then if lift moons, I'm going to be like, hey, I should have played the lotto. Should have played the lotto. Alright, we got anything else coming in here? Probably not. Alright. Alright, everybody. I'm going to probably hop off. There's nothing else really coming in here. So thanks for hanging out, and we will be back at it tomorrow then.